Hi everyone, we are live, I hope, and I think we are. I'm Lauren and I'm here with Rabbi Aaron, which is so lovely. Thank you for joining us. So this is our first week where we're going to do 10 minutes of Torah. So every Friday at about this time, we're going to hear from one of our liberal Judaism rabbis who's going to give us just a quick insight into what the Torah portion is for this week, and then will leave us with some thoughts for all of our LJY members and LJY community based on it. So Rabbi Aaron, over to you if you could tell us a little bit about what's happening in the Torah this Shabbat.
Well, we are in the book of Numbers, and the book of Numbers, as well as wasting at least 40 years whilst the Israelites go wandering round and round in the wilderness, getting from one point to another in that story, we have incredible amount of arguments and revolutions and revolts and disagreements. Ooh. I know, it's really spicy. It means that the Israelites are actually questioning whether the leadership of the Israelites should only be kept in one family. Because in a sense, Moses is like their political leader, like their prime minister, although right. I don't know how democratically elected he was. And Aaron, my namesake, was the religious leader, the high priest. And Miriam was sort of the glue that kept everybody together. She was the real people person that everybody, I think, really loved. And so lots of other people who were from the same tribe as them often got a little bit jealous. And so they had disagreements with them. And even Miriam and Aaron at one place also object and sort of say, but can't we be as big a leader as you? So everybody's having a bit of a pop at them. The whole story is really meant to say, God tells you who the leaders are meant to be. You don't get to vote. God decides. That's the story of the book of Numbers anyway. It's not like our world today. Anyway, in our portion, the Israelites are given an opportunity to go and check out the promised land. They choose 12 representatives, of course 12, one representative from each of the 12 tribes, to go into the promised land to check it out and see, is it full of flowing of milk and honey as they have been promised? In other words, is there lots of food there? And do we think that when we go into the land, we can defeat all of the people there? So they go into the land and they have a little scout around, and there's a very famous image of two people with a very, very long stick on their shoulders, and in between them a massive bunch of grapes. And so famous, in fact, this became on stamps in Israel. It's a real specific symbol to show the goodness of the land. So it was obviously a very, very good land. But some of the scouts came back and they said, do you know what? We saw the people and they were huge. We must have looked like grasshoppers to them because they were so huge. And by the way, their cities were huge and they had fortresses everywhere, and there's no ways we'll be able to go in there and occupy the promised land. There were just two people who decided that, spoke against them. Joshua, the son of Nun, not a nun, but Nun, and Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, which is just such a difficult word to say. I just call him Caleb. And these two are our heroes, and they go in and say, no, we can conquer the land. This is an amazing place. We should go there now. Unfortunately, the people side with the pessimists, the people who give the bad report of the land. And so they're condemned to go and wander around the wilderness for 38 or 40 years. And this is a really bad point of this story, because the Israelites could have gone into the promised land now. They didn't believe in God or well enough that this was a really, really good land and they would be able to occupy it. And so they had to wander around until all of that generation died off in the wilderness, and a new generation would come up, which wouldn't be so scared and think all the time, oh, it would have been better to go back to Egypt because at least we had some food every day there. So that's basically the story. There's a few other little bits about it. I've seen Aussie baking and cooking on LJY-Netzer. It's been amazing. And there is one little bit where it says right at the end that when you make a challah, then you should always leave a bit behind. And normally that was a bit which would go to the priests. But when there were no priests, because we became Jews, not Israelites, still traditional Jews today, when they bake their challah, will take a little bit of it and either put it back into the oven to burn, so symbolically making an offering out of it, or they would chuck it away. I don't know exactly what a traditional Jew does. But it's an interesting thing because some traditions still survive today that are from the Israelite Torah. And the very last thing in it is there's the instruction, the law about tzitzit, that she'd make corners at the corners of. And I like the idea of tzitzit, really. I mean, I don't do it myself. I don't feel the need because I have metaphoric tzitzit that I can wiggle around and think of God. But Catholic people have their worry beads. You may have seen them if you went to Catholic countries. And my tzitzit, if I'm bored in shul, I can also always feel my tzitzit and remind myself that I'm meant to be here for God, not to get bored. So it shows how some of our very ancient practices come into our modern day practice as Jews.
Thanks so much. That was a great whistle-stop tour of what's happening in the Torah at the moment. And I was just wondering, for our LJY members and our LJY community, what can we think about, or what lessons can we learn or take into our life today based on this portion?
I think there's a little bit of a warning in this portion that if you allow yourself to follow the pessimistic view, it may not lead you down a great path. If you think badly about everything around you, and especially about other people maybe as well, then that's not the best way to look at the world. So I have a very important rule for myself, and it's not a commandment of the Torah, but it's a Rabbi Aaron commandment for himself. You can take it or leave it. And that's to think that everybody has good intentions. That even if somebody said something to you which upsets you, to stop and think, why are they saying that? Are they saying it because they want to annoy you or be nasty to you? Or are they giving you some kind of feedback, even if it's difficult for you to hear? Sometimes there are nasty people out in the world and we just have to admit that. But actually, I do believe that the vast majority of people are good. So if we're able to assume that they have good intentions, we can listen to what they're saying and we can work with that and maybe have a discussion as well. So in LJY-Netzer, when you're having a conversation or a debate, it's always good to remember that everybody's there for the debate. So they may say something which you strongly disagree with, but they're there for the debate just like you are. And that's a really good way for us to be in the world around us, especially in these times when we think that there's some people in the world who are picking on other people, even killing them because they're just something different to them. I think to assume good intentions to start off with is always a good place to start.
Thank you so much. I think that's an important lesson that we can all take with us into Shabbat and the rest of this week. So
and it's a cool one, and I know that within LJY-Netzer there's a pretty cool song as well, which sort of leads us down and fits in with this Torah portion as well. It's mitzvah goreret mitzvah. When you do one good thing, it tends to lead to another one. If you do something which is a bit dodgy, then it's likely to lead to something else dodgy as well. And maybe you know it and you can sing along at home with me. We're not too sure if we can sing along together. It's a bit weird. Lauren better sing it, actually, because she's not got a much better voice than me.
Oh, it's okay. I'll do some movement.
We'll do some movements and everything else like that. Mitzvah goreret mitzvah. Avera goreret avera. Oh, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. The time doesn't work. Goreret mitzvah. Goreret mitzvah. Bum bum. Liot tzadik. Zetov. Zetov.
Zetov.
Liot tzadik zemazeh. Tov me'od mitzvah goreret mitzvah. Avera goreret avera. Oh, mitzvah goreret mitzvah. Na 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 na. Da 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 da. Bum bum. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. And 10 minutes of Torah has come to an end. Thank you so much, Rabbi Aaron. And next week we'll be hearing from Rabbi Anna of Posner. So look forward to seeing you all there. Shabbat shalom, everyone.